Even though our son died, our son lived. We left the hospital with a kid.
Welcome to Dadding. Today on the show I have Michael Cruz Kayne, a hilarious comedian and writer who's sharing an experience that is anything but funny, the loss of his child. Michael is a friend, and we shared a lot of laughs while recording this, but it was, of course, an extremely difficult situation for him and his wife, and we appreciate him sharing his story with us. Here's Michael.
A year and a half ago, you kind of posted online about the loss of your son. How are you with people saying Fisher's name?
I'm good with it, man. I like it.
Okay. Yeah.
What if I was like, how dare you? How tough would that be for you? Oh, brutal. Thank you for asking. It was a nice question to ask. I appreciate it.
Can I ask how Fisher passed?
My wife and I had twins in 2009, and they were both born early, super complicated pregnancy. And then the younger of the twins, Fisher, passed away at 34 days old. A twin pregnancy is automatically like a little bit more high risk. They were identical twins, and they had something called twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome. And this is a little bit of a red herring because he didn't ultimately die from TTTS. Just when you imagine being a dad, nobody imagines that your kid is going to die. The nurse was like giving him his feeding at night and just realized like, oh, he's not digesting this. Like he's not taking any food in. And they ran all these tests or whatever, and they found out what the problem was. By the time they had caught up to what it was basically too late. It went from a thing of the doctors being like, so here's the game plan, to here's what we're willing to do. And it's like, okay, so you're telling me that he's going to die. Like that's what you're saying. We had twins. So a weird element of it that makes it even more unusual is that even though our son died, our son lived. We left the hospital with a kid. If you could imagine all the love you have for your kid, it feels like infinite. It feels like there is no end of what that is. It is weird to leave the hospital being like, I'm only coming home with half of infinity. This is like this kid that I have. There's no more love in the world than what I could put into this, except that there is another one of these, and it would fill that also somehow.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's just so you know, that's going to be throughout. I'm sorry that I know you're strong and you guys are amazing. And
we do blame you. You've been the person we've been like, I think like if we had to pin it on someone, it's going to be Rob. That's what this episode is about.
Right. I am interested to know, and I don't know if you're comfortable talking about this, but how did it affect your marriage?
In a billion ways. But if I had to pick one way, I think that it like forged us together. It's not the same, obviously, but it's like going off to war. And it's like the only people who will ever know what that was like were the guys who were in the trenches with me. Like those people, they'll know. Being pregnant was so difficult. And she was just like a soldier through it.
I'm just curious how you, being someone in the comedy world, how did you do that at the same time, really carve out space inside yourself for comedy and, the loss?
The way that I think about it has changed because I think originally it was like, this is something I don't want to talk about. I think it was something that I tried to let go of. And now I think that's wrong. So like death should be a thing that brings you together. But for whatever reason, it's the opposite of that most of the time. It would feel better if we talked about it more and more like, openly. I would rather feel sad than pretend to not feel anything about it.
What is advice you might offer someone that is dealing with the loss of a child?
I guess if I had to say anything, it would be to make space for your own feelings, let yourself have those feelings, and forgive yourself for whatever those feelings are. I think there is that feeling of like, I have to hold the whole thing together. I got to be the one who doesn't feel stuff. And I think that's impossible. And it's not as helpful to the situation as you think it might be anyway. The times I felt most supported and connected to my wife and to everyone else was when I was being honest about how I felt.
That really wasn't the answer I was hoping for. So
let's just end this.
That stinks. That really, oh my gosh. Dude, really, thank you so much for being a part of this and sharing.
Of course.
Your story will help a lot of people, and we appreciate you.
Love you, brother.